Hello and welcome to Productivity Nerd, a podcast all about getting shit done, hopefully in an elegant way that doesn't leave you too broken. In our crazy worlds, we're all about balancing the need to work enough to make ends meet, enough not to annoy our bosses, but also enough that we feel like we've done enough, which can be a whole different psychological and emotional ballgame, along with the human need to rest and stay well. Plus, on top of that, we'd quite like to enjoy ourselves, maybe just a little bit along the way, spending quality time with those we love. I, for one, love hearing about how people get that balance and work more efficiently so they have more time to do the things that they love. Hello and welcome back to Productivity Nerd. I'm Kathy Soulsby and today I'm speaking to Duncan Vincent, a personal trainer and performance coach, about all things exercise. If we consider the three key elements of productivity, according to Daniel Pink anyway, all hail Daniel Pink, energy, focus and priorities, then exercise, given its clear link to energy, is going to be pretty important. But there's a strong chance it also impacts on the others, and the stats bear that out. So in a 2008 study by the University of Bristol, employees who exercised during the workday reported 21% higher levels of concentration, a 22% improvement in completing work on time, and a 25% better working pace. Similarly, Leeds University in the UK also found on days employees exercised, 72% reported better time management, 79% reported improved mental performance, and 74% reported better workload management. So I hope those stats have inspired you to move a bit more. So let's talk with Duncan about how we can fit exercise into our extremely busy days. Hi and welcome to Productivity Nerd, the podcast where we get all geeky about things productivity. So today we are looking at one of the most overlooked drivers of productivity, physical energy. So not motivation, not mindset, but actual biology, if you like, get up and go energy. And to help us do that, I'm joined by personal trainer and performance coach, Duncan Vincent. So Duncan has worked with everyone from, us sort of desk warrior types to elite performers, helping them move better, feel stronger, and think more clearly. So we're going to talk movement, we're going to talk habits, energy slumps, that myth of I have no time to exercise, and why your productivity toolkit might need a bit less browser tabs and a few more lunges. Never. But if you've ever tried to power through your to-do list with nothing but caffeine, this one is for you. So I have to confess, Duncan, obviously there are a gazillion PTs out there. I have one myself. You have a very strong no burpees message on your LinkedIn profile, which it's important. I, many years ago, set up the Facebook group, Burpees Are Evil and Should Be Banned. Literally, it's been going for 20 years.
I need to find that group. I need to join it.
Nothing happens on it. I never do anything on it. I don't know what possessed me. Obviously, a very bad day in the gym. But yeah, no, I literally have that group. Burpees are evil. It should be bad.
There's loads of physical reasons why I don't do burpees, as well as the mental thing of them being horrible as well. But it's
oh, go on then. Make me feel better that it's not just me being a wuss.
Well, it's not being always like in a burpee. If you look at what you have to do, you have to jump your legs out, jump your legs back in, and go back up. 9 times out of 10, you're doing that when you're tired. 2, you have to be quite good in core control to be able to jump your legs out, keep that back from slumping, be in that perfect position and jump yourself back in. And so lots of people, when they were doing it, were hurting their lower back because the form goes, they're tired, everything was just like in the wrong places, and you're not really concentrating. And it was like, do you know what? Let's just take them out. You can step into a burpee, you can get your form working right, but there's better ways.
Good. Excellent. Anyway, Duncan, fab to have you here with your great font of knowledge. Tell us a bit about you. How did you get into being a trainer?
So that's probably one of the hardest questions to answer, in the sense of knowing where to start, because I've loved sports since a little kid, always involved, growing up, GCSE PE, A-level PE, went to university, did sports science. But then part of what I was working, my first job was working in a small little gym, and to start off with, and he didn't have much to do in the sense of either cleaning stuff or talking to people. And what I found is when I was chatting to people about exercise, getting to know people, I just love being able to help them and not just like going, oh, you need to do this as an exercise. It's more like, how can I get you to have more energy, to turn up more often, have a smile on your face, enjoy yourself, and get yourself out? So that sort of started me off in that sort of personal training run. I got myself my PT. Then I went to university. Part of my course was sports science and they've got a completely different energy to the people in the gym. And at that university, I learned, not just learn about exercises, it's all about sort of the way that your mind and the connection between your brain and the body and the body and the brain and how that all works together becomes a better value to you as a person who wants to get fit as to just putting out bench presses and burpees and all this, that, and the other. So that really kind of like inspired me to keep on going. And when I went back into PT work, that information really sort of helped me help clients. I also worked, once I finished that, at Crystal Palace Football Club. So I was the sports scientist and one of the strength and conditioning coaches there. So we were working with the 16 and 18-year-old academy players, and every one of them super fit, everyone's super talented. But what made them stand out to become a professional football player wasn't what they could do on the actual pitch and the training. It was their stuff outside of that effort, that lifestyle thing, the habits they can create, the routines, the mind shifts, all of that sort of stuff stood them out above what your normal player would be. Everyone's got the same skills. And then once I worked there, I worked with the Queen's Doctor in a private 5-star gym in Belgravia, and we were working with ambassadors, royalty, CEOs, really successful women. It was a women's only club, and they had lots of different aspects to it. But again, talking to people, understanding these really busy people, how they needed to have a shift of patterns, mindset, routines outside of just coming to the gym and training to meet. And you talk to them lots, and you find out lots, and you find out what their little hacks would be. These people are really successful, so I'd always ask.
Yeah, obviously, right? That's why we're here.
Exactly. And like all of my PT thing is I can give information, but it's trying to learn from other people and learn what their techniques are, what their shifts, what their habits are, what their problems are, and just sort of pushing into that. So that's how people come to me when they start training, and that preparation and mindset away from actually coming to me for that hour is so life-changing. It's and puts people into a better mood, better productivity, everything just sort of falls into place. So I think I've answered that.
You have. As you mentioned, we tend to think of productivity as being about kind of planners and organizing and Pomodoros. What impact does physical movement have on productivity? How does that kind of fit into the whole picture?
It's your secret weapon, really. It's what's going to put you above your peers, in a sense. You've got it unlocks so much potential. It unlocks potential for focus, for concentration, for memory, for your actual energy. You get that feel-good factor, with all of the hormones that have been released, not only like the serotonin and dopamine, but there's so many other factors. So if you can incorporate movement, it doesn't have to be hardcore gym sessions. It can be small little 10-minute blocks. That is a way of making you, like we talked about the Palace players, what will make you stand out from everybody else. And if you can incorporate movement, you're actually going to have more productivity in the end of the day than people who are just standing there or sitting there grinding. So the physical movement, your secret weapon to rise above everyone else and get stuff done.
I love it. And so for those people who are kind of not moving, as it were, so they're sat there at a desk all day, what is the risk of that obviously from a health point of view, but also from a productivity point of view, if you literally spend 5 days a week sat on your backside for 8-9 hours?
Well, you're gonna have the generic answer of everyone. You've got to look after your strength, your cardiovascular, all that sort of side of things. But there's hidden ones around it as well. So if you're grinding, imagine you're working really hard and you've got your shoulders roll forward, you're on your desk, your hips are all sort of, your hips are tighter because you're in that, you're seated down. So those hip flexors are getting tight. And the physical stuff is just going to be, you're just going to start closing up. And because you're sat in this position and 9 times out of 10, your head's down on the computer as well, then your body actually is going to think to yourself, do you know what? I'm tired. You're in a position now where I want to fall asleep. You want to close down your body. Everything's just like shutting down. But you might be trying to focus, but your body's going, I feel tired. So you can change that with like simple things. Everyone talks about, desk position and, not on a twist. But if you can get that eye height of your screen ever so slightly higher than your eyes, and you're set up and your head's up and your chest is back and you're focused on something a little bit higher, your mind and your body just goes, right, I'm in concentration mode. I'm in a mode that I am being productive, as opposed to closed. I need to do everything's just nothing else around me. You're feeling tired, you're feeling lethargic. So one little thing is, seating position, how your body actually feels within that, opening up the chest, and then getting up and moving, getting those hip flexors opened up as well. So protect that lower back, because if you're getting tight and you're uncomfortable, then your concentration goes as well. So simple little things like that. Hide away.
Fab. And from your point of view as a trainer, what would you look for in kind of high performance in a work context? What would you think is an ideal, if you could design somebody's work day with movement and with work, what would you put together for them?
So I've been lucky enough to work with lots of people in this sort of position. And I think if you're going to look at someone who's been successful in that they are high performance work context people, this is calmness. Calmness within themselves, calmness within what they've got ahead of them, calmness in anything that comes their way. They know they can deal with it, and that comes from knowing pretty much that you've put yourself in the best position you can to be productive 80% of the time. Everyone says like the 80-20% rule, and it's kind of works. So life's not all in straight lines. Things do happen, but if you can put in routines, habits, little things that that are going to be helpful to you for your future productivity, and know that if anything else comes, you can calmly deal with it, then you're putting yourself in good stead. And you can start small. Like, you don't have to go to the gym and pound out lots of different exercises all the time. Something like caffeine. Everyone loves a cup of coffee, loves a cup of tea, or a herbal tea, something caffeine based. And 9 times out of 10, you wake up in the morning like, oh, I don't really feel like it. Stick the kettle on, get your caffeine, bang, and you're away. But that will actually sometimes affect you later on in the day. 3-4 o'clock, everyone gets that energy slump, and it could be to do with that caffeine hit. So if you can start by waking up in the morning, instead of having a caffeine, have a glass of water, hydrate yourself, move a little bit, and hold fire on that caffeine for like 60 to 90 minutes. Allow the hormones in your body to clear out. So when you've been asleep, you've got all those adenosine things that's built up and made you go to sleep. That needs to be cleared out of your body. About 30 to 40 minutes into waking up, you're going to get a little cortisol hit. Your body's going to go, right, we need to wake up. We need to get your brain fired up. Everything goes into higher focus, and you get a little cortisol hit. Your blood pressure will rise a little bit, and you're like, right, we're ready to rock and roll. So if you can hold fire on that caffeine hit and let your body go naturally into that wake up state, let those hormones work, you're going to put yourself in a better position to start off your day, knowing that you've held fire on that caffeine. That comes 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, once that caffeine's dropped off, that adenosine is not going to be like, right, let's latch onto these cells and make everyone tired because we want to build this up and catch it up. So come night time, I'm ready to sleep. So that caffeine basically stops that hormone from happening. So if you can hold fire, you're going to last longer in the day. It won't be till maybe like 5-6 o'clock when you're coming home that you feel a bit tired, but you've got more done in your day because you've held fire on that caffeine hit. So that's a good one.
I like that a lot. So don't have your first caffeine immediately when you wake up, even tea.
Even tea, hold fire on that caffeine. Get yourself hydrated.
Okay, I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it tomorrow. I will have a herbal tea. I have to have something liquidy. I'll have a herbal tea, and then I
Yeah,
won't have any caffeine for like 40 minutes until,
yeah.
yeah,
And
okay.
another thing, I know, like with the weather in the UK and stuff like that, it's hard. But if you can get some natural light into your eyes as well, 10 minutes of that when you first wake up, it doesn't, even if it's overcast, that light is still getting into you. That's still gonna, get that brain awake. And if you can walk or do something active or movement, your brain also gets that optical flow. Things are starting to move, starting to think, to wake up that body. Your brain will start turning on, start to focus. And yeah, you'll be more alert for the rest of the day as well. So yeah, a little bit of exercise. It doesn't have to be hardcore. It can be, depending on what rhythms you are. If you like a morning workout or an evening workout, or just 10 minutes walk, 10 minutes stretching, something to get you going. That helps as well.
And is there any science behind when it is best to exercise if you're going to exercise, or does it just depend on the person and the way their life is?
Well, you got this, the circadian rhythm. So, some people are going to be larks, some people are going to be owls, some people are going to really enjoy getting up in the morning, some people aren't. There is science behind it, but 9 times out of 10, you've got to try to fit around that sort of movement and exercise. If you're going to do like your cardio, your strength, into something that fits your life too, you feel good for. If you do evening ones, you need to make sure that you've got time afterwards to let everything calm down before you go to sleep, because you might struggle
Yeah.
with sleep. But if you do want to, the other thing is if you shift it into the morning, for those first couple of weeks, if you do start going, all right, I'm just going to work out in the morning so I can get it done, you might struggle for the first couple of weeks to get that rhythm going. And after a couple of weeks of waking up early and exercising, you're going to start feeling better. So it can be shifted. Just be aware that if you're naturally a person who likes working out in the evening, it's going to be harder to shift it the other way, but you can be done. Um,
Yeah. But
but
you,
if you're talking about sort of like, oh, what were you going to say? Sorry, what were you
oh,
going to ask?
sorry. I think there's a bit of a delay. Yeah. So, I mean, and someone who is a natural night owl, it's never going to be great for them to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go to the gym. It's going to make them utterly miserable to do that. So you might still do the
Yeah,
morning, but if you have control of your day, you might do it at like 9 o'clock instead of 5 o'clock. I mean, I'm an early person. I'm in the gym at 6, but that works for me. I'm also in bed by
yeah.
9:30, right? So it fits me, but it wouldn't fit everybody.
But no, and some people have kids, some people have other lives, some people have
Yeah,
other clubs and stuff in the evenings. There's lots of different things that are going to affect it. But if you can make small changes, like in the morning, like I said, like hold fire on that caffeine, a little bit of movement. If you're not a morning person, just get something going, and then in come the evening, you can do your bigger workouts, and then vice versa. If you're a morning person, you might need to have to shift your habits and stuff into how can I get to myself to sleep in the evening a little bit better. Chamomile teas and things like that are going to help release chemicals, which is going to help build up that adenosine again to help you fall asleep. You just have to look at what your life is and can you fit habits around what you normally do. Small changes make big effects, stalagmites, stalactites, all that, little drips. If you can make small changes as opposed to big radical ones, you'll start getting into the rhythm of things. And you were talking about the different hormones and things when it comes to larks and owls. The other factor of doing exercise in the morning, or 10 minutes here or 10 minutes in the daytime, is what happens to your focus, concentration, and your memories as well. So when you start moving, your brain's going to be flooded with chemicals. You're going to have dopamine, serotonin, neurotransmitters. You're going to have endorphins in there. All those chemicals, yes, they're going to make you feel good, but they also help with, like, the hippocampus is all part of the memory, and it's that part of the brain is an amazing part actually, because it can actually grow new cells. So if you're increasing them with the chemicals it needs, it will start building up new cells. You're going to have better memory for the longevity of life, as well as your actual focus. And then your prefrontal cortex, the axons, get stronger with those chemicals put in, and you learn how to shift your focus and concentration better. So you can focus on something, shift it. An email might come in, bang, you're on it. Bang, you're back into your concentration. You can shift that focus and concentration a lot easier. by doing these little routines, this little bit of movement, and why movement actually helps with that productivity, because you're on it.
And you're training your brain.
You're training the brain, yeah. It's everyone, what goes on in your brain affects the body. What happens to the body affects the mind as well. So it goes both ways.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was chatting to somebody the other day, and she's, I don't know, my age maybe, but she's got, family, kids. She works in an office 5 days a week. She leaves the house at 7. She doesn't get home till 7. Where is she going to fit exercise into her life? Right? How is that going to be? She does not have control. She's not the CEO. She can't just say, right, I'm out here for 2 hours in the middle of the day. How could she add a bit of exercise into her daily life with those timetables?
It's a very hard one, and it's spontaneity and willingness, in a sense. We all put our little hats on when we go, I don't have time for this, I don't have time for that, I've got so much going on. But you're going to find moments in your life, even if it's 5-10 minutes, there's going to be an opportunity. It's going to be a window to take a bit of movement, be it a 10-minute walk, be it sticking the kettle on and doing some stretching. There's going to be little moments where you can just be spontaneous and go, well, if she's got kids, pick them up, throw them around.
Gently.
That's what I do mine. They're just like out the window, go away, Ted, yeah. No, but it's, again, you don't have to always dedicate half hour, an hour time. Yes, it is good. Yes, it is good. You can put it in your diary, and lots of people give you advice saying, block it into those diary points, make it part of your job. And it is movement and exercise. If you change the focus to I can't do it, to go, this is actually part of my job because it's going to make my productivity, my output a lot better than if I was just sat and grinding, head down. There's studies that show it as well. There's where if you take that time away, go away, come back, focus again, you're going to get more done in that time than if you just try to push through. It's spontaneity, being a child.
We had one of our clients did a step challenge. I can't remember if it was over COVID or pre-COVID. No, it mustn't have been during COVID because they were in the office. But we used to book meetings for all of the partners, and traditionally it's a 4-story office, right? And they're like, well, don't book one meeting at the top and then the next meeting down the bottom, because otherwise I'm going to be up and down all day. And during the step challenge, they all wanted their meetings to be on different floors so that between meetings they could get some steps in. So it was and everyone would volunteer to make the tea. It's like, I'll run downstairs.
Exactly. Who wants a cuppa? I'll go, it's mine.
Yeah, and it's just taking those tiny opportunities to do a little bit more where they are. And if they're not going to add up to, running a marathon, but it's still better than nothing.
Exactly, it's better than nothing, and it's those small little steps that eventually you will get enough energy, and yes, you will get enough time, and yes, you will be able to go focus on a goal, say like running a marathon or something, which is. I went for a run on the weekend, and I was like, no, I don't think marathon's not for me anymore.
Marathon has never been for me, can I tell you? I'm not a runner, never, ever.
But yeah, so those, that. Taking those moments is also, it's not just, it's calming the mind, taking that you'll just start feeling good, and that will rub off on everybody else as well. So
yeah. I mean, I used to, when I worked in an office, I would try and do, unless it was like chucking it down, I would try and do a little walk at lunchtime, or I'd take my lunch to the park, right? Even if I brought a packed lunch, I wouldn't eat it in the office. I'd walk to the park, which is like, I don't know, 5-7 minutes there or something, sit in the park, have a bit of daylight, and then walk back. So at least it was a little bit of movement rather than staying put.
Yeah, and it's like work calls, going outside, having a call, taking that call, and going for a walk. And also the other little factor of like going out and doing something or moving or getting, people work from home a lot, so you don't have to have embarrassment of standing up and doing a load of stretches in front of in an office. But if you take it as a moment to recalibrate and focus and come up with ideas, take it as a brainstorming sort of thing. There's lots of times where I've gone, I'm so stressed with all of this. I've gone out for a walk, it's, come back and I've got new ideas, I've got new ways of thinking about the problem. Or it might be that I've just been looking at not a lot for 20-30 minutes, and my brain's just gone, I needed that, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And then
boom. Yeah, and sometimes taking that time out and not thinking about the problem, just listening to some music and getting some fresh air, actually your brain, when you come back, it goes, oh, I don't know why you were worried about that. It's fine. Let's just write a list of what needs to be done and crack on. Whereas
Yeah,
otherwise the overwhelm can get you if you don't move.
yeah, and it's that increased blood flow. Everything's going through, everything's into the mind. You've opened up all the tightness around places, and you're like, yeah, right, let's rock and roll.
Yeah. I am slightly paranoid about my posture. I'm sitting here going like this.
I did as well. Hang on.
I am trying. I am
Let me
trying.
get my band. There you go.
Oh, you've got an. Oh, very good.
It's a good one for extra tip.
Yeah, very
Opens
good.
up
Love
the
it.
shoulders.
For those listening, not watching, Duncan's just got some sort of yoga strap and is doing like he's got arms out straight going.
Shoulder
Oh,
shoulder rotations.
thank
Don't
you
feel
for
like
using.
pectoral
Thank you
muscles.
for using all the
You've
words.
got
Yes,
different.
that's what he's doing. But definitely
You've
improving
got.
the
You could say
posture.
the technical thing, shoulder dislocations, but I don't think anyone wants to hear that.
No, that's like that horrible gymnastics thing, isn't it? That makes me feel a bit sick. That
Yeah.
is on the rings. They sort of I love watching
Oh, did you ever see
gymnastics, but
that?
oh
Did you ever see that old Kit Kat advert? It was from about the 80s, where the
did
person's on the rings and they're holding up the rings and they're in that T position, they're holding it.
yeah.
He lets go of one of the rings, just goes to scratch his nose and puts it back again.
I thought you were going to
So
say
take a
he moves it
break.
as a Kit Kat. Brilliant. Very good. And do you think, I mean, talking of gymnastics, obviously the Winter Olympics is on at the moment, so there's lots of very fit people doing crazy things and then probably less fit people doing curling. But do you see a shift from when you started in your career of why people are training? Are people training for different I know I'm training differently now than I trained in my 20s and for different results.
Totally, totally. I mean, there is, as you said, as you start to get older, the priorities of your fitness sort of change. I think if I was back in my 20s, all I wanted to do was run the first, farthest, fastest sports. Everything was pretty much uh, high intensity. Didn't really look after myself physically in sense from the beach. There's definitely come away. Like I've got long-term clients that may have found me for wanting for weight loss, but then they've developed routines and habits, and their brain has shifted from how I look to how I feel, and what that feeling does for me for my overall life. And I actually get the results of looking good because I'm actually looking after myself as a bigger picture. So they're getting those routines which is going to bring them more life satisfaction. They can roll the punches more when life happens. They understand that mood and mindset go hand in hand. And one of the biggest factors of exercise sometimes is you may have something planned where you're going, right, I'm going to go to the gym and lift lots of stuff, become that strong person, or I've got this high intensity workout, but your mind is fatigued, your body's fatigued, you're tired, you're not in that mood to go lifting anything. So you have the tools in your arsenal. I teach people all these things to set back, do some yoga, do some calm breaths, do some bits again, which is gentler, still focused, still working on a goal, and they actually start to go, oh, now my body feels good, now my mind feels good, and then everything else then flows into a better pathway for them. And that again, the mind shift away from aesthetics to actually well-being becomes more of a goal where they can sometimes wake up and go, I feel rubbish, let's do this, I feel great.
Yeah.
And having those tools and knowledge behind them, it helps put it into perspective and understanding of, right, I can change the way I feel by my mind and my body working as one, as opposed to fighting against it or trying to push something which your body's not ready for, your mind's not
Yeah.
ready for.
Yeah, I had a conversation with somebody the other week who was talking about, oh yeah, I never miss the gym, even if I'm really sick and I've got a streaming cold, I go to the gym, and I'm like, yeah, I don't. I will listen to my body, and if my body is saying not today, Josephine, it's like fine, that's not today, and I don't stress about the fact that I might have to have a week off training because actually quite often what happens is I go back after a week off and I can lift heavier, and I'm like, I don't know how that works, but okay.
Well, that works from like periodization and what you're doing with intensity of your training. So you can have, say, like a 4 week block where you start week one nice and low, week two add a layer, week three add a little bit more intensity, week four go full whack. Then go the fifth week, you're dropping it right back down again, and you're building yourself up, and that allows your body to adapt. It allows it to grow and be prepared for the extra intensity and the extra workload that's been put onto it. So you can look at a big picture of the year and then break it all the way down, or just 4 week blocks, menstrual cycles, all sorts of things, which it could be playing a factor within that as well.
Yeah.
If you've got a 4 week block where sometimes one week you're going to have different hormone structures than another, or feeling bloated or less bloated, you can ebb and flow your training around that as well.
Yeah, and it does make a difference. I was really surprised actually when I started to track it. I definitely can't lift as heavy in some weeks than I can in others, and I'm just like, why am I so pathetic today? And you go, oh yeah, that's why. Yeah, you'll be fine next week. So yeah, it is really irritating, but I think it's about listening to your body, isn't it? And I perhaps wouldn't have done that in my 20s. I would have been way more feel the burn. You've got to do it. It's do everything and do it really hard, or sit in the pub and have 4 pints and 3 bags of crisps.
Yeah.
Nothing in the middle.
No middle ground. I'm one or t'other.
Yeah, it really was.
And you've also got like just the knowledge. You've also got like the knowledge that's available to everybody at the moment. You've got all the social medias, you've got all the YouTube, everything that's there it can get confusing. But I think it's definitely if you're listening to the right people, the most positive thing is that mind shift. And lots of different people are talking about it, and it's a good positive thing to take it away from the physical and just the energy that you have. Look after it. It's got to last a long time.
Well, it has, yeah. And one of the we did a book by a lady whose name has completely escaped me now, and it was called Half-Assed Human, and that was about and I didn't realize I did it, but I do it. I will always go to the gym if I'm meant to go to the gym, right? So I have my set gym times. I will always go, even if I don't want to go. But my rule is if I go and I do 5 minutes and I'm still not feeling it, I'm allowed to go home. And that's my rule. And I don't think I've ever gone home after 5 minutes. I might have gone home after 15 once or twice. But the rule is I go and then I'm free to go, no, I really don't want to do this. I'm going home.
Yeah.
And then I can.
And if you've gone there and you've got yourself there, and it's the first 5 minutes is the hardest because your heart rate goes up, your muscles want oxygen, so everything starts to pump and everything. Then you're like, oh, do you know what? I'm not feeling it. Sometimes you might get through that first 5 minutes and everything calms down. You're like, oh, do you know, I've got some energy now. Okay, I'll rock and roll and do this. Other times you might go sit on the stretching mat and go, I'm just going to lie here, some up openers, do some stretching, do some bits. I've just got to loosen off myself, get a nice warm shower, get a bottle of water, and have a go for the rest of my day. I'll come back another day, and win.
Yeah, I think my biggest failure in exercise was during lockdown when I used to do. I think my mum got me onto some Pilates class that she used to do online, and I did a really brilliant in-person Pilates course. You had the best teacher. She was a scream. It was really good fun, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. What I realised was I actually find Pilates the most boring exercise in the history of mankind, and I absolutely hate it, right? There are not words to describe how much I hate doing Pilates. So I have to have an amazing teacher to make it fun to get me through an hour of Pilates. Yeah. But what happened with these online courses were they were not fun. They were really not. And there was one day during lockdown, which was quite tough for a lot of people, including me. And I remember lying on my yoga mat and going under the screen. So like nobody could see me on camera. I went, not today. And I literally, but I was like, I'm too embarrassed to leave. So I literally poured myself a gin and I lay on my yoga mat.
Just did some bicep workouts. Oh, that must have sipped a gin.
I just couldn't. But that told me that Pilates is not my thing. I think that's what I learned from this. Pilates is not my thing.
But the instructor made it so much better for you because they obviously they tapped into something which was that enjoyability, that thing like, again, the mind. Your body could do the exercise. No matter if it's a bad instructor or a good instructor. It's what energy is coming into me to be
Yeah.
able to focus and do
Yeah.
something. And
Yeah.
that's why I love my job with inspiring people when they're group exercise classes or my online exercise classes. It's how much energy can I give to you through the screen to make it
Yeah.
enjoyable, and how can I hide an exercise? How can I hide the squat? How can I hide that rotation? Oh, let's just do a bit of boxing. Right, duck, 1-2 punch. Come back up. You've done
Sneaky.
20 squats without realizing, or so it's
That's very sneaky. But I think,
thinking.
yeah, and I do think there's something about online classes, which we didn't really have that much. Well, so we didn't have them. I remember having videos. Was it DVDs? Was I old enough to have a
Oh
video?
yeah, the Jane Fondas and stuff.
Yeah, I don't think I had a Jane Fonda, but one of my favorite ones, and it was a DVD, and I wore it out. That is how much I love this DVD, was Kate Lawler's boxing DVD back in the day.
Oh
She
yeah,
did
yeah.
it with two PTs, one PT, can't remember. This thing was intense. The first time I did it, I then had to go to a workshop the next day, and my colleague had to literally carry all my bags and all the kit because I couldn't move a limb. My legs hurt, my arms, I
That
could not function. I was that stiff, but I loved it. But yeah,
I
those
think
things. But those are pre-recorded, so you can practice it. But even some of those, and I remember, go back to the sort of noughties where loads of celebrities did these things, weren't there?
the Cindy Crawfords and your Elle McPhersons and stuff like that was.
Right, you went to those two. I went to Natalie from EastEnders. But yes, um,
Well, name drop. I trained Elle McPherson for 8 weeks before she went to Miami. But yeah,
you.
yeah.
I've never met Natalie from EastEnders, but I'm sure she's delightful.
I
She
met,
was
I
the
met her as well on
top
the train
bird.
to London.
Yeah, yeah. But you had loads of these people, but they almost always did it with a personal trainer, right? So you've got the celebrity who's the name and the face, and then you've got the expertise kind of
Yeah,
doing, really, which I
yeah,
quite liked.
exactly.
But it was all recorded, so you could make sure it was fun, it was watchable, it was achievable, and it was all timed properly. Although I swear to God, Davina cannot count because
No,
some of her 12s are definitely 15. But you had all
definitely,
those
definitely.
pre-recorded. These days, it's sort of live. You think of all the pelotons and stuff.
Yeah, well,
You have to get
I've got
better.
my DV coaching studio, which is 8 live half-hour classes, from gentle movement to building strength. It's a journey through. So you can go from a gentle movement to a fitness foundations to a strong balance class, and it's all building you up, and they flow into one. But the most enjoyable thing is the instructors, as I said, are hiding things, but giving their energy, seeing the people in the cameras. They don't see each other; they just see me, but I can
Yeah.
see all of them, and you can give people little. You can see the person with the gin tonic in the background, by the way. I saw him in the mirror, but it's it's that energy to be given to someone on the screen is quite a fun thing to see people smiling
Yeah.
and enjoying themselves when it comes to exercise. And again, they've taken a moment. They've
Yeah.
taken a moment to look after themselves. I'm sure for the rest of the day they're cursing me, but they're also being productive.
I'm sure they aren't. I'm sure if they're smiling during and not grimacing and not lying on the floor drinking
No,
gin
my
and
ears
crying,
burn.
they're
My ears
okay.
burn.
I mean, that's how to fail an exercise class, isn't it? As an instructor, if your students are literally lying on the floor with gin crying, you've not won them over that day.
No, definitely
Not
not.
day.
Definitely not.
Or woman,
That's never happened. Not
as
at
far
all.
as you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, it is a different, much like for people delivering courses and that kind of thing. Going
yeah.
online is a very different skill set to,
It is.
and for you as well. Do you find? I think I did. So I was terrible with my online Pilates, obviously, but I had a one-to-one yoga session during COVID, which honestly was the best thing ever because I was literally on camera, so she could, because I've got dodgy hips and stuff. I'm always a bit worried
Yeah.
about breaking myself if I'm not having someone adjust me. But it was great because I'd put my camera somewhere really weird so she could see all of me, and then she'd be like, "No, your left leg is definitely wonky, move it down." But that was one to one, so that worked. How do you
Yeah.
mitigate that when you're dealing with a class of people with mixed abilities, different injuries, all that kind of stuff going on?
So, so I've got a fundamental knowledge of what might go wrong with an exercise and what the key points would be for cues and everything. I'm lucky I have the one-to-one stuff as well.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And the and COVID and online stuff actually made me a better coach for this. But
Yeah.
you can look at someone in a class environment and you've got 10, 15 people in front of you, and you can notice one or two doing something ever so slightly not wrong, but you can improve their technique. And you don't single that person out. You say it as a group. You say it as, oh, by the way, you give them a cue. Okay, shoulders back, squeeze those things, make sure that the knee's not coming over our laces. And that person who is not singled out, they know that the cue is directed at them, because it's like, oh crikey, my knees are all dropping in and I'm doing this, that, and the other. But I don't like singling out people in class ones, because it's not beneficial. I'll single them out maybe for praise. If I say, like, oh wow, I saw you doing this the other day, your balance is amazing, that bigs up people. And then, so that's how I mitigate it in the group sessions. And the one-to-ones, when you're talking over the camera, I had to learn how to describe exercises and give analogies a lot better than you would in the gym, because sometimes you can just put your hands on people and adjust and move them. But if you can go, do you know what? Imagine you've got a bowl of water. It's probably one of my favourites. Underneath your chin, you're doing a squat. You don't want your shoulders around and your spine to curve, because you're going to be pouring that water out. Can you keep that bowl of water nicely upright as you unlock the hips, drop yourself down, make sure your knees are in line, and there's lots of things like that. Or imagine you've got a box, or imagine you've got a bag, or imagine that you're throwing. I did one today where I had 2 tennis balls attached to string that you're swinging around. It was gentle movement, and it was just getting people like Tai Chi, that sort of flow. You've got a little bit of imagination going on in your head, and it just makes movement a little bit more easier when they're imagining something on, in their own heads, as opposed to just watching me do it. So
that makes such sense. And I still remember things that my very lovely Pilates teacher used to shout at me whenever I'm doing anything. It was always ribs, ribs.
Oh, ribs, flare the ribs. No.
I was always ribs. Yeah, ribs. And obviously my legs bend in weird angles. So it was legs straight.
Are you hypermobile, are you, as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so my knees bend in and all sorts. So I'm very rarely straight. I'm mostly wonky. So I have to really concentrate to stay straight. It's
Yeah, but the other thing with that as well is not everyone's movement is going to be exactly the same. Everyone's got different biomechanics within that. Thighs longer in other people, shorter things, different hip widths, different things. There's going to be a squat is never going to look the same with the 2 people standing there. It's not picture perfect, and it's learning how to teach someone to adapt what their abilities are at the moment to increase the overall outcome. So if your feet are spread out wide, you've got one foot wider than the other, pointing directly 9 degrees left. Can you turn it in a little bit, or can I give you some other exercises that eventually will pull that foot straighter? So when you do go into the squat, we're not just forcing it. You've got other compensations. Your adductors, the inside thigh, have been worked a little bit in other exercises to help with that overall performance. Saying a bit there, but exactly it.
No, it is. It's really interesting, isn't it? And exercise and move. I keep saying movement as well as exercise, because exercise has quite negative connotations for some people, whereas movement, like everybody has to move, right? Make a cup of tea, you have to move to a certain extent.
And reaching for your cupboard to get that cup of tea out.
Yeah,
you're moving.
Exactly, you're moving. Yeah. I certainly didn't love exercise for years because school put me right off it. But
it happens a lot.
It does, right? It really does. Yeah. But yeah, so that was super helpful. Thank you. I think we have been inspired. And even if you just do 10 minutes a couple of times a day, whatever, moving some bean cans around, or I have a friend who, whenever the kettle boils, does a plank. Planks while the kettle boils.
So if you put that into perspective, like we were talking about or habits and stuff, if you put that into like perspective of a day to help you focus on what would a day look like if you first woke up, and how can you make it more productive. So like when you're first waking up, you're trying to get that hydration before your coffee, that movement before your coffee, that optical flow, just getting some sort of movement in those eyes, waking up, that daylight. Hold fire on your caffeine, 60 to 90 minutes.
I'm so going to try that.
Yeah, try that one. And then, honestly, when you get into your work and you sit at your desk, all of a sudden you've got, right, do you know what? I've done all that nice preparation work. Now I'm focused. And like, work for an hour, hour and a half. Focus on stuff. You might not be 100% focused for that hour and a half, but, that dedicated time. And then when it starts to flag, when it starts to drop, your concentration is dropping and that focus is dropping, take yourself away from that work, do that mobility work or that 10-minute walk, get those chemicals flowing through your brain again to refocus the mind and that concentration. The feel-good hormones releasing, so you're actually feeling a little bit better about yourself. Then when you go back, another 60 minutes, 90 minutes of work, repeat, and then and make sure you put it as part of your job, like knowing that if I take this 10 minutes, even though I'm swamped, I'm going to come back better, more capable, and I'm going to have more results than if I just sit here and slog it.
Yeah.
And then fit everything else around the day.
Yeah.
With 30 minutes exercise, hours strength training, you this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And it's hard, like you said, the lady who's getting up with the crack of sparrows and getting home really late in the evening. She's got to try to find those small little moments, that spontaneity and that willingness to do something. And even if it is at the end of the day, sat in front of Netflix, but instead of sitting on the sofa, sat on the floor, a couple of yoga blocks, stretch, mobilize, do something which is, you're going to feel good for it, and you're not just still sat down.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. Really good idea.
Yeah, I do that. It winds my wife up no end. I've got my
just wants to cuddle on the sofa, and you're sat on the floor with your yoga
not a cuddle,
your
but just get out of the way of Downton Abbey, would you?
Brilliant. Oh, lovely. Duncan, it's been fab chatting to you. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for reminding us that actually sometimes taking a break and moving is the most productive thing we can do in our day. It seems counterintuitive sometimes when you just want to get your head down, but actually the best thing we can perhaps do is stand up, have a jiggle about, or do some star jumps, whatever you like.
Exactly. If you're working from home, no one's watching.
No one is watching. As long as you're not on a co-working session, no one is watching.
Well, get them involved as well.
Very often they do, actually. Not on purpose, but we do sometimes on the co-working things I do. We do have little movement breaks, which is quite nice. They're built into the session.
So to do it, the best thing to think about is that stop trying to be productive when it comes to work. Don't work too hard.
Exactly.
Enjoy yourself a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much, Duncan.
Pleasure.
So that was my session with Duncan about all things movement. I really hope it's inspired you to move some more. You don't need to spend hours in the gym or run marathons. That isn't an option for most of us. God knows I have no intention whatsoever of running anywhere ever unless I'm being chased by a serial killer. But I will leave you with another statistic. A study done by Stanford University in 2014. Walking increased creative output by 60% on average compared to sitting. And not only that, but creative thinking remained elevated even after sitting back down after a walk. So that's pretty good, right? Most of us can walk a bit. And as Duncan says, energy doesn't come before movement. Don't wait to move until you have the energy to move. Movement will create the energy for you. So do check out Duncan's videos online via his website in the show notes if you want to learn more about him and the work he does. Thank you so much for listening. I look forward to seeing you next time.